Throughout Georgetown County, residents are living a life without the pulp-producing beacon that powered its economy for almost a century. The paper mill closed at the end of last year, laying off close to 700 employees. And while 700 is a very small fraction of the number of people to have worked at the mill over the years, ABC 15's Camille Gale introduces us to a few of those impacted by the closing of International Paper.
Since 1937, those traveling on Highway 17 through South Carolina's Low Country saw the smokestacks on Georgetown County's skyline and couldn't ignore the smell produced by the steam billowing from those stacks that might convince one a sewage plant was near.
When all those lights out in that powerhouse, that's when people downtown are going to see the light.
But it wasn't a sewage plant, instead a paper mill, one that would become an economic backbone of an entire community for generations.
I didn't want to go to the mill. I was looking for something better, but it wasn't nothing better.
Clarence B. Gibson is the beginning of one of those generations. In 1968, at 24 years old, Gibson began a career at the mill that would span 3 decades.
You could have moved any way you wanted to move in the mill if a job come up. But some people just get on the paper machine and get like me. I fall in love with it. I fall in love with the action, and you know, before it's all over, I was sitting on a stool giving orders.
A black man in the 60s giving orders also made Gibson a part of history. He and 3 other men were the first blacks to move up onto the floor from the basement.
To the cafeteria, we had a black window and a white window. And knowing me, I was the guy jumped across the railing because the black line was long, and I went to the other window. And you know what? Everybody said, boy, you need to get back over here. I said, I just need a sandwich. But guess what? Everything changed after I did that. Soon they had one window.
One thing that didn't change was the driving force behind everyone's motivation at the mill: family.
People now have become doctors, lawyers, nurses. It allowed their family to have a job to send their kids to college.
But on October 31st, 2024, a remaining 700 employees working to provide learned a staple in the Georgetown community for nearly 100 years was closing its doors for good.
A lot of people haven't accepted the fact that this is actually what's going on, this is what's going to happen. They've had counselors on standby because some people are not taking it very well and they're afraid some people may harm themselves.
Gibson retired in 1999. The other men, whom he calls his brothers, have since passed. One of them was James Smalls. He also retired from International Paper. These are his sons, Eric McNeil and Sean McCants.
Have his eyes closed, and he could tell you everything that was going on with that machine. If it stopped, he could tell you why it stopped and where you need to be. So that's not just a skill, that's a certain level of intelligence and comprehension.
Neither of them envisioned a life working at the mill, but one thing led to another, and after 10 and 13 years, both of them are included in the nearly 700 people laid off.
Little signs on the wall that kind of told you that something was going on. Thought there might be major changes, but I didn't think it was going to close. The amount of money that even that the employees put into the community, that was something that should have been thought about, and they should have given everybody at least 6 months a head start to get themselves together.
McCants worked the same position his father retired from, continuing his legacy while creating a sense of family on the inside.
We spend more time with those co-workers than we do with our own family, so they kind of end up being like family, you know. Yeah, and to say that we probably like to say we want to see them again, that's kind of hard. Between
these 3 men, Georgetown natives, is nearly 60 years of experience at the mill. As they reminisce on past and present memories, their eyes light up, describing them as great. But when it comes to a future, sad is the adjective they all agree upon. In Georgetown, Camille Gale, ABC 15 News.